Well, today we are presenting a joint communication from the High Representative and the Commission that responds to an invitation of the European Council on the last 24th of May. This communication sets out the state of the European Union and Russia relations in all their complexity and proposes the way forward. That's the important thing. Russia remains the European Union's largest neighbor, and it is an important global actor. However, the deliberated policy choices of the Russian government, I'm talking about the Russian government, over the last years have created a negative spiral in our relations. And to meet the strategic challenge posed by the Russian leadership, implementation of the five guiding principles, have given us, the European Union, a purpose and an approach that defends our interests and values. Time and again, the European Union has demonstrated unity despite attempts by Russia to divide us, and this unity remains our bigger asset and needs to be even more robust. Under the present circumstances, we believe that a renewed partnership allowing us to realize the full potential of a close cooperation with Russia is a distant prospect. The European Union, therefore, needs to be realistic and prepare for a further downturn of our relations with Russia, which are right now at the lowest level. And this further downturn is the most likely outlook for the time being. On the other hand, our ambition should be to explore paths that can help to change the current dynamic gradually into a more predictable and stable relationship. Today's joint communications proposes to simultaneously push back, constrain, and engage Russia in that order. To push back, to constrain, and engage Russia based on a common understanding of Russia's aims and an approach that we can refer to as being a principled pragmatism. Let's go a little bit more into the detail of these three verbs. First, we must push back against human rights violations, breaches of international law in our member states and in our neighborhood, and continue to speak up for democratic values. These are matters of concern, direct concern, to all members of the United Nations, to all members of the OSCE, and to all members of the Council of Europe, and do not belong exclusively to the internal affairs of any country. As a fundamental part of this, we will continue supporting Ukraine and its territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence. This includes continuing to call Russia to assume their responsibility as a party to the conflict and to implement the Minsk agreements. Second, to constrain Russia's attempts to undermine the European Union interest, the European Union must become more robust and resilient. And for doing so, we must develop our cybersecurity and defense capacity, as well as our strategic communication capabilities by stepping up work on foreign information manipulation and disinformation. We should continue to strengthen our capabilities against hybrid threats, and we must also use the advantage provided by our energy transition and support the energy security of our neighbors. Our energy transition will affect Russia crucially from the point of view of our energy mix. And as you know, Russia is a great provider of hydrocarbons on this energy mix. And we also need finally to step up to support our Eastern partners and increase their resilience through the implementation of the reforms pending. Third, but not last, it is important to engage with Russia. It's important to engage with Russia on several key challenges to further defend our interest. First, as you know very well, the COVID-19 pandemic has shown the need for global engagement on public health. The virus knows no border, and the border the European Union and Russia share, it's about 2,000 kilometers long. Second, we should engage in a close dialogue with Russia to combat climate change in the run-up to the COP26 in Glasgow and beyond. Third, we should also continue to address the more technical engagement with the Russian government on the vast number of economic irritants in our relations. Fourth, we should strengthen the people-to-people contacts, which could include more visa facilitation, especially for young people, academics, and work exchanges. The following item is to continue supporting and to be more flexible and creative in doing so with Russia's civil society and human rights defenders. And finally, on the foreign policy front, we should continue to cooperate on regional issues. There are many of them: Middle East, Afghanistan, like the JCPOA on Libya, and on global issues, the counter-terrorism and non-proliferation. These are the proposals that, together with the Commission, we have been drafting to take forward our relations with Russia. We will continue working closely together with our partners, G7, NATO, and other like-minded partners. We want and we need to drive the relationship in a way that our interests and principles will be better defended and promoted. This communication will form the basis of the discussion at next week's European Council, which is, according with the treaty, the body has to provide guidance on foreign policy. I look forward for the leaders, members of the European Council to provide this guidance in order to steer this, as you see, complex relationship.